Hi everyone! So it's Sunday, so that can only mean one thing. It's time to talk about the book I've been reading this week. And this week it was Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. Now, this is a story. I hadn't read the book fully before. Now, let me explain what that means. I picked up the BBC Radio 4 dramatisation of Good Omens because I had this Neil Gaiman splurge because I've always liked him, but I had this real splurge of book, load of his books. I absolutely love them. I really got attached to Neverwhere, and there was the BBC did a radio dramatisation of that, and I absolutely loved it. And I saw that they also did this one of Good Omens, and I've listened to it so many times. I absolutely love it. And I kept on picking up the book in Waterstones, my favourite bookshop here in the UK, and kept on reading bits of it and then putting it down and reading the next bit and putting it down and everything. So, but I hadn't read it in full, and I just thought, right, I'm going to buy the book, that's it, and I'll read it. But I didn't get around to it, and that was I think probably about July or August last year. So, of course, it went on the list for the book challenge, and I have just finished reading it literally about 10 minutes ago. And I have to say, I really loved it. Now, weird thing, on the front cover, the guy right here. He really reminds me, because this week, just to give you that, I've had a couple of weeks off work, and I've been binging on box sets and such, downloaded from off telly, and I've really got into How I Met Your Mother. And every time I picked up this book, I kept on thinking that's Neil Patrick Harris, as Barney from How I Met Your Mother, because it looks just like him. It's ridiculous, except obviously this guy's got tail and wings and horns on his head. But anyway. So that was always, fun to whenever I picked up this book, thinking it was Barney. But yeah, this book. So for those of you who don't know it, basically it is about the apocalypse, and an angel and a demon called Crowley and Seraphel. Crowley is a demon, Seraphel is the angel. Have been put to task to make sure the Antichrist is given to a particular couple, and they help raise the child. So then he turns 11 when the events of apocalypse are due to happen. He will be all prepared. He knows exactly what he has to do. He has to praise the devil and all this lot. But unfortunately, they discover on his 11th birthday that there was a mix-up at the hospital, and they have not been raising the Antichrist. They've been instead raising a completely different child. So now they're on a mission to try and find the child, who is being raised in a little village called Tadfield, and he's called Adam. And you also there's so many characters in this book. You've got a collection of various people, but there's one particular character who I really love, called Anathema Device. I love the fact the names that Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett come up with in this book are great. I mean, Neil Gaiman comes up with some really weird and wonderful names in his books anyway, but the particular names chosen in this one, I think they're brilliant. So Anathema Device, she is the great granddaughter of a woman called Agnes Nutter, who was a witch who wrote down all of these prophecies that she saw in a book, which has been passed down through generations of her family, and now Anathema has it, and in it details all of the things that are going to happen, but it's not in incredible detail. She, as Anathema describes it, it's kind of Agnes is looking at an event through a keyhole rather than be able to see the full picture. So she always writes little individual snippets of events, but never really sees the entire picture, and she never has them in the right order, so you don't know exactly what's going to happen when. So it's all about her trying to figure out what's in this book, but what it means, the people that she meets on the way. At one point, she loses the book, and there's so many things going on in this story. It's absolutely fantastic, and I love all the characters they meet along the way. Now, one thing about Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman's writing is that I love, and I always love it, but it's how smart it is, and it's witty, and you feel it's quite well, sinfully delicious, I would say, because some of the stuff that they come out with, you're a bit like, oh really, but but the way that they write it, it's so clever. It's absolutely fantastic. I love it. Now, as I said, I love Neil Gaiman's writing. I really like him. Terry Pratchett by himself, I tried to get into the Discworld series, but I just couldn't. I couldn't connect with it. I don't know why. It just didn't work for me. But he has that same, Terry has had that same writing style as kind of like Neil, in regards to, finding quirky things and making them witty and such, which I really loved. So the fact the two of them came together and wrote this book, it's going to be absolutely fantastic, and it is absolutely fantastic. There's a lot of truth and kind of honesty about things as well, in regards to where you see yourself going. And like, there's this whole thing about how Adam and his other friends are saying, oh, let's not, we'll go get something to eat, but let's not have any meat. So then that means we've saved hundreds of cows being slaughtered. And Adam goes, well, no, that hasn't saved it, because they're still going to be killed, because there's still so many other people in the world, because that's the way the world works. You can't, just saying that doesn't stop it from happening, and it covers, quite a whole range of stuff. And of course it, looks at religion as well, what your beliefs and such. And, and also I like how when it comes to religion, they do kind of question it, but it's not a big emphasis. And it's a case of belief doesn't necessarily mean a religion. It can be belief in absolutely anything. So questioning your beliefs and where you stand in the world doesn't necessarily mean that they're only asking those questions towards those who are religious, because of obviously what the subject matter is what they're writing about. It touches on everyone in the world. So I really like how smart and intriguing the writing is. The plot, because there is lots and lots of things going on. We've got so many characters that you keep track of. So sometimes you can imagine that it's quite hard to keep track on all those people and where they are and everything, but they write it so well that you constantly know what's going on with everybody. You don't feel like you've lost somebody, or that case of where you've spent absolutely ages with one group and then suddenly they go to another group and you can't remember where they were. It's nothing like that at all. They really keep the pace going through the book. It's so smart, sophisticated, well paced. Absolutely loved it. I think it's brilliant. I'd recommend it to absolutely anyone. And yeah, so talking of witty things, I absolutely love that the four the horsemen of the apocalypse, and their the Hell's Angels and such, are motorbikers who go around and to various bars and stuff and use the trivia machines and such, answering questions like how many Oscars did Gone with the Wind get and stuff like this. I think that's absolutely brilliant. And the fact that Terry Pratchett's character of Death, who he used often in his books, standalone books, is included in this book. I really liked that. I thought that was a really, really nice touch to it. And with Elvis working in a burger bar, I thought that was brilliant as well. So yeah, I'd absolutely recommend this book to anyone. I really thoroughly enjoy it. And the other thing, of course, that I would absolutely recommend to everyone is the BBC4 radio dramatisation. Now, obviously, there must be, I gather, an audiobook of someone just reading the book itself, but I haven't come across it. I haven't listened to it, so I don't know. I gather, as I said, there is one, but I don't know. But yeah, if you're able to get hold of this BBC radio dramatisation of it, I really strongly recommend that you listen to it. It is absolutely fantastic. There's so many great actors in this, so many great British actors, absolutely brilliant way. And same goes for the Neverwhere dramatisation with Natalie Dormer and James McAvoy as the two lead characters in that. So yeah, so the dramatisation of Neverwhere and Good Omens, I really, really strongly recommend that you listen to. Okay, I'm going to stop there now. And as usual, I'm going to do a separate video to announce what my next book in the challenge will be. I hope you enjoyed this review. Have you read this book? I'd love to hear what you think of it. You can leave me a comment in the comments box below, or if you prefer to show what you thought of this book another way, you can give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Entirely up to you, but I'd love to hear what you think. And I'll be back soon with my video to announce what next book will be in my challenge. All right, see ya.